Good afternoon. Today is Tuesday, February 20th, 2024. Excuse me. This is the hearing for the hearing officer for the City of Tempe. My name's Vanessa McDonald, and I am the hearing officer, so I'll be conducting the hearing this afternoon. But before we jump into our brief agenda, I'm going to read something into the preamble regarding procedures and policies about the hearing officer. The City of Tempe hearing officer is authorized by Arizona Revised Statutes and the City of Tempe Zoning and Development Code. The hearing officer has the duty to carry out the provisions and the intent of the Tempe City Code and the Zoning and Development Code. The hearing officer is granted authority to conduct public hearings to decide upon the abatement of code violations occurring on properties within the city. These violations include, among other things, deteriorated pools, structures, or landscaping, storage of junk or refuse, and inoperable or unregistered vehicles. Abatement actions are brought before the hearing officer by the city's Code Compliance Division, typically after numerous attempts at contacting the property owner so that they can obtain voluntary compliance with the code. The hearing officer can issue an order directing the owner, occupant, property manager, or other responsible person to remediate a code violation or to authorize the city to abate the property. The cost of the abatement is the responsibility of the owner of the property where the violation occurred and will be collected as an assessment against the property found to be in violation. On today's agenda, we have two items. We have a set of minutes from February 6th, 2024, and we have a single property abatement. Agenda item number 3 has been brought into compliance with the code voluntarily, so that item is no longer on the agenda this afternoon. Any property owner who is aggrieved by a decision of the hearing officer may file an appeal within 14 calendar days after the hearing officer has made a decision. The deadline for appealing any decision rendered today is 3 p.m. on March 5th, 2024. Appeals are heard by the Board of Adjustment, after which they may also be appealed to Superior Court. A property owner has 14 days to either file an appeal or bring their property into code compliance. If neither of these things happen within the required 14-day window, the property will be abated by the city. Joining me this afternoon from Community Development to my left are Cassidy Hernandez and Sean DeFara. Thank you guys for being here. The first item on our agenda is a set of minutes from the meeting held on February 6th, 2024. I had a chance to review the draft minutes that were provided to me in advance of this hearing, and I think that they accurately reflect what took place at that hearing. So I'm going to approve the minutes from February 6th, 2024. That brings us to the only item on our agenda this afternoon. We have a request for approval to abate public nuisance items at the Roosevelt 11 LLC property. That's 11 spelled E11, E-V-E-N, located at 606 South Roosevelt Street. The applicant is the City of Tempe, represented this afternoon by Inspector Michelle Van Etten. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Madam Hearing Officer. Nice to see you today. As you mentioned, my name is Michelle Van Etten. I'm a code inspector with the Community Enhancement Division. I'm here to request a 180-day open abatement for graffiti at 606 South Roosevelt Street here in Tempe, 85281. I initiated this case on November 30th of 2023 when I observed graffiti on a wall located at that location. This wall is clearly spray painted in what would be considered graffiti and not art. It's clearly visible from the public right-of-way. I sent an initial notice out to the owner asking that it be covered or removed. I re-inspected the property on December 14th of 2023 and found that the graffiti remained, and I then sent a final notice to the owner. When I re-inspected on January 12th of this year and found that the graffiti was still not taken care of, I mailed a notice of intent to abate to the property owner. I've not been contacted by the owner or responsible party. I've received multiple complaints about this issue, and it continues to be an eyesore. I've sent the notices to multiple locations, and while not every notice has been returned, a notice from each of the addresses has been returned.
Okay.
So I'm kind of at a loss, and my attempts to contact the owner have not been fruitful. I took pictures this morning, if I may show them to you now.
Okay.
So I'm aware that there are weeds, and that is a separate issue that is now being taken care of. So you may see me soon for that, unfortunately. But this is from standing on Roosevelt Street at the wall there. It's a vacant lot that's in the process of being developed for multi-tenant housing. It's a 6-foot wall. Those letters are 6 feet tall and about 10 feet wide. And then this is just a closer picture. So as I mentioned, it's the letters CMF in spray paint, approximately 6 feet tall and 10 feet wide. So clearly visible from both 7th Street by cars and pedestrians as well as Roosevelt.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to note for the public record that we are having technical difficulties this afternoon. So I'm not sure that what is being shown here in the chamber is being broadcast on Channel 11, which is why the narration was so helpful. So anyone who may be watching, I doubt it.
Did I give enough of a description?
Yes, I believe that you did. And to your point you made earlier, this can't be interpreted as art. You know, it's not Instagram worthy by any stretch. It is clearly graffiti. So I thank you for the recent photographs, and they're pretty much exactly what were in my packet that I was given last week. So are you asking for 180 days?
Yes,
or?
Madam Hearing Officer, I apologize. I'm asking for a 180-day open abatement for the graffiti there at 606 South Roosevelt Street here in Tempe.
Okay, great. Thank you. Mr. DeFara, do we have anyone on the line wanting to talk about this item?
Madam Hearing Officer, no one online.
Great, thank you. I'll make another note for the record. There's no one here in the chamber other than City of Tempe staff, so there's no one here present wanting to speak about this item. Well, the pictures speak for themselves. It clearly is graffiti, and that the property owner has had almost 4 months to take care of it without any action on their part. So I'm going to go ahead and grant the 180 days that you requested for the property at 606 South Roosevelt, contained in CM 231961. Thank you.
Madam Hearing Officer.
And as I mentioned earlier, agenda item number 3, that property has been brought into compliance by the owner, so we are no longer hearing that item. Do we have any announcements, Mr. DeFara?
Yes, Madam Hearing Officer. The next Hearing Officer agenda is scheduled for Tuesday, March 5th at 5 p.m. here in the council chambers and on Tempe Channel 11.
Great. Thank you very much. If there are no other announcements, we're adjourned.